Hi ladies, what we're going to do now is kick off our warm-up for our squat program. Our warm-up is going to consist of 3 exercises. The rep ranges will be on the program. What I'm going to do now is just simply go over those 3 movements to give you an idea of what we're looking for. Okay, right, to kick off, we've got our squat to heel raise. We're going to take our body weight, drop into our squat, and safely move our body up onto our toes. Okay, so we send our hips back, dropping down into that movement, and we drive up and onto the toes, engaging the calf muscles at the top of the repetition. Nice big, deep squat, driving the knees out and pushing our body weight up onto our toes. That's your first movement. Okay, second movement, we've got the wood chop. The wood chop is there to engage obliques, get a little bit of rotational movement into this session as well, get you primed and ready. Okay, so feet hip width apart, we're going to place both hands together. We are then going to drive hands down to one side and then up and over the shoulder of our other arm. Okay, so it's a big wood chop motion. Small rotation in the hips, like I said, we should start to feel the obliques firing there. The last movement of the warm-up is your power climber. I want you to really focus on control in this movement rather than driving pace and intensity. We're going to come down to the floor, hold a plank, and we're going to send our foot out and up as far as we can with heel to the floor. Okay? Back down, alternating the leg, driving those hips up and out. Like I said, big focus on control through this rather than pace. I'm looking for you to open your hips up and get those limbs ready for your squat session. Right, if you press pause now, you can then get into your warm-up, complete 2 to 3 rounds, press play again, and we can then get started on our lower body strength work. Excellent, see you in a second. Hi ladies, welcome back. We're now getting started on our strength element of the session, and we're going to kick off with a sumo squat, and we're going to work the pace of the exercise to really promote strength gains in those legs. Okay, these are going to be your baby supporting muscles in the pregnancy and post-pregnancy as well. Yeah, so let's maintain strength in the quads and the glutes. We're going to kick off with our sumo squat. So our feet are going to come outside of our hips. The toes are pointing out to the sides. We're going to then engage all the same cues we would with a normal squat. So we're going to send our hips back, using our arms as a counterbalance, knees out to the side, and we're going to hit at least parallel, and then drive ourselves back up. What I'm looking for is a 3-second descent into the bottom of that squat. Okay, so that's all you need to focus on, really controlling the pace of the movement on the way down. Okay? 3 seconds down, 1 second to drive back up. Remember, the pace of the exercise is where you're really going to build strength. You also want to be focusing on making sure your knees drive out over the top of the feet. If they don't do that, move the feet in slightly to make sure that does happen. Right, that's your first element of your strength training. I want you to just focus on that. Once that's completed, you're then going to go into your accessory work. Again, focus on tempo. You're going to take yourself to your sofa or a chair, and we're going to focus on the single leg squat. Again, working with the pace of the exercise. Hands out here for balance. We could use this up against another chair, a table, anything for a little bit of stability support. And we're going to take a seat back onto our chair, but we're going to take our time as we do that. One leg is elevated, sending the hips down, all the way down to your seat, and then drive back up with lots of force and acceleration. Okay, so it's the downward focus as we come down towards that seat, where we're going to build strength in that quad, in that one limb. Really take your time and drive back up to standing. Try to keep the one foot elevated all the way through those repetitions. That way you're really putting a focus on balance and coordination, which is going to maintain core strength through your pregnancy. Excellent. Okay, if you press pause there, complete those reps, and I'll see you again for a little bit more coaching work in a second. Brilliant. Hi ladies, welcome back for our second part on the accessory work. What we're going to have a little look at now is a little bit of core strength, a bit of work on the shoulders, and we're also going to work on some of our upper back strength as well. Okay, again, focusing on those baby supporting muscles. Right, we're going to kick off with our plank. Okay, we're going to do that on the edge of the sofa or the edge of a chair, something with a good stable base. We're going to come down and support our body weight in this position here, okay? So I'm maintaining a plank, a neutral spine, right from the top of my back all the way down to the bottom, and I'm on my hands in this start position. From there, lots of control. We're going to move down onto our forearms, and we're going to move our body weight back up onto our hands, okay? Each time you transition from the bottom to the top, back up onto your hands, that equals 1 repetition. What I want you to focus on in those planks is the stability in your hips. Try not to have your hips rocking around as you move between the movements. Try and keep it nice and stable, and focus on the drive with your hands away from the bench as well to promote a little bit of upper body strength. Right, that exercise is going to be supersetted with another one. So we're going to do our next exercise back to back. We're going to sandwich these 2 exercises together. Bit of a different one. Again, we're going to look to train the upper back in this one. We're going to come down to the floor. Come down to the floor. I'm going to dig my elbows in. I can have a little bit of a pillow or a cushion behind me for some support here. I'm going to engage my core, and I'm going to try and lift my body weight up on my elbows with a lying back press. So from there, using my elbows, I drive my body weight up and back down. Up and back down. There's going to be a big engagement of core muscles in that one, but again, we're not adding a crunch, we're not flexing the spine. What we're trying to do there is elevate your body weight by keeping and maintaining a really strong structure. We're also going to be building strength in that upper back. Really important as we move through our pregnancy. Okay, if we press pause there, get those exercises done. Remember, we want those back to back. Once they're done, press play on the next video, and we can get going into our final bit of training, which will be focused primarily around the core work. Okay, see you then. Hi ladies, in for the last little bit of the training now on today's program. It's going to be a focus around your core strength and your pelvic floor function, okay? Really important we maintain this through our pregnancy, okay? So there's going to be a big focus on core through each one of these programs. Today's one is 2 exercises. We're going to complete as many reps, as many rounds as we can of the 2 exercises inside 12 minutes, okay? Really safe, accessible crunch movement to kick us off, and that is the standing bicycle crunch. We're going to place our hands behind our head, feet just outside the hips, and we're going to move one foot off the floor and bring our elbow towards that other knee, okay? Trying to maintain control all the way through the movement. I want you to focus more on the actual movement, the actual rotation in that exercise, rather than kicking up lots of pace, okay? Try and keep it slow and controlled. That's going to build support, build strength around your obliques, and we're also then going to move it into our second exercise, okay? Our other one, we're going to come down to the floor, into a plank position. Here we can either go on the hands or the knees. You can also put a pillow underneath your stomach if you want a little bit of support in this exercise. From here, hands on the knees, and we're just going to tap our feet out to the side. Again, focus on the control of the movement, maintaining stability through the hips, no rocking side to side. And I'm just simply tapping my toe out as far as I can and bringing it back to the midline. Once I've completed the rep range on that one, I'll move straight back into that standing bicycle crunch to work my obliques. 12 minutes of hard exercise on that. Let's see if we can build some strength. Once those 12 minutes are up, that's job done on today's program, and I'll see you again on our next day's worth of training. Excellent. Hi ladies, welcome back, and we're now going to focus our training today on a little bit more of our upper body press focused work, okay? So we're going to try and build some strength in the upper body. To kick off for our warm-up, again, we've got 3 exercises to get that blood pumping, a little bit of mobilization work, a little bit of stuff to get those muscles firing. Right, to kick off, we're going to hit our press up, and we're going to add in a little bit of thoracic rotation, okay? We're going to take ourselves down to the floor. This movement can be performed on the knees or probably on the toes, but we'll give ourselves a rough plank position to kick off. Like I said, on the knees or on the toes, hips elevated nice and tight through the core. we are then going to drop into our press up, drive it up, and adding that rotation up towards the ceiling. Okay? Alternating the sides into that press, up and rotate. That is our first movement of the warm-up. After that, we are then going to move into a little bit of mobilization for the shoulders. One way to do it is back yourself up against the wall. I'll demonstrate on this wall here. I'm going to push my lower back, all of my spine, as flat as I can up against that wall. From there, I'm going to place my shoulder blades up against the wall, as well as the back of my hands, and I'm going to run my arms up and down the wall, trying to maintain contact with the back of my hands, as well as maintaining core structure. So my lower back pushed in as hard as I can into that wall. That's your second movement. We've got one more movement in the warm-up, and this one's just there to just generate a little bit of heart rate, get the blood pumping. We're going to split our stance. We're going to bring those arms up in front of us, and we're just going to throw out jabs to the front. Keeping those arms up, moving the hands across the body, really trying to drive some pace to get that heart rate moving, okay? Those are your 3 exercises for the warm-up. What I suggest now is pressing pause on the video, get those warm-up exercises done, and I'll be back with you for your main strength element. See you in a second, ladies. Brilliant. Okay, welcome back, ladies. We're now going to move into our strength element of today's session, which will have a focus around upper body strength. What I'd like you to do is kick off with our press up, okay? This can be performed on the knees or on the toes. What I want us to do is come down to the floor. Again, use a pillow for a little bit of support underneath the belly if you need it. We're going to come into a position. I would either start with a narrow, regular or wide stance with the press up, and we're going to alternate between those stances with our hands, okay? So, either on the knees or the toes, I'm going to get into my press-up position. Head in front of the hands, my hands screwed into the floor, so I'm trying to maintain tension with my little fingers as well as my fingers and my thumbs. Keeping my elbows nice and close to my midline. I'm going to drop into my push-up, driving up, and then I'm going to alternate to a different stance for my next push. I've gone to a wide stance. I'm going to move back into a regular. And now I'm going to come to a narrow. So I'm moving in between those different palm positions all the way through the reps. Narrow, regular, and wide. I'm working my way back through those until those repetitions are done. Okay? I want to really focus on that tightness through the midsection and keeping those elbows close to your midline to get those push-ups done. Okay, once we've done that, we're then going to move after that into a little bit of accessory work, and we're going to focus on some dips. These can be performed on a sofa, on a chair. I'm going to demonstrate them on a box today. Right, taking a seat on your surface, my knuckles are facing up towards the ceiling. I'm then just going to send my legs out in front of me. Depending on where you put your feet, it's going to depend on the difficulty of the task. So if my legs are straight, this is going to be quite a difficult exercise. If I bend my knees, it's going to be a little bit easier. What I'm going to do is focus on the bend of my elbow. I'm going to drop down, sending my bum down towards the floor, and then driving back up through the triceps, through the back of the arm. Nice and deep, and push back up. Excellent. Right, those are your chair dips. See if you can get those done, as well as those press-ups to kick off as well. Once those 2 movements are done, I'll catch up with you for a little bit of technique work after this. So press pause, and I'll catch you up in a second. Okay, on to the next bit of training now, ladies. We have moved away from the press work, the heavy upper body work for the start of the session, and now we're going to work on a little bit of the hinge work. So through the hips, glutes, hamstrings, all of our posterior chain. We're going to kick off, we're going to go back to the sofa or back to the chair you were using earlier for your dips. We're going to do some single leg hip bridge. Taking ourselves back into this position here, we're going to drop ourselves down, maintaining shoulder blades on the sofa or the chair. Get into a comfortable position, dig that one heel into the floor, and I'm then going to elevate the one leg. I'm going to drop my torso down towards the floor and drive back up through that heel that is down on the floor. I'm looking to get a big squeeze in that one glute, drop back down, and then drive again. Try to look to drop your torso down at the same speed that the hips are coming down. You don't want to be folding yourself in half. You want to try and maintain the chest up, the torso moves down at a really steady pace. Right, we're going to superset that with another exercise. So as soon as we've done that exercise, I want you to get up onto your feet and move into a little bit of more sort of cardiovascular movement. We're going to hit those skaters. So, lots of control, use your arms to the movement. We're going to send one leg behind, touching the floor behind us with that opposite leg, and then send that leg back to the other side. I want you to run through those reps, keeping that pace high until you've completed the rep count, and then you can have yourself a little bit of a breather. So using those arms as much as you can, getting that back knee deep to the floor to complete those skaters. Right, 2 exercises there, let's get them back to back, let's get that pace up. Once the rounds are done, press pause, and then we'll move into our pelvic floor and core weight for the finish. Right, welcome back ladies, we're going to move into our pelvic floor and core weight for the finish like we have been doing with the rest of the program. Got a good one here, we've got 3 exercises. We're going to do each one of these exercises back to back, no breathers in between, let's keep that heart rate high. Obviously, the focus of these 3 exercises is on control as well as promoting the core strength through those exercises. Okay, we're going to kick off with the bird dog movement. So we're going to come down to the floor, creating a box position, hands directly underneath the shoulders, the knees directly underneath the hips, core nice and tight. We're going to send opposite leg and opposite arm out, pushing that leg back as far as we can to squeeze the bum, and sending this arm as high up as we can as well. Lots of control, bring it back down to the floor, and then repeat on the other side. The slower you do that exercise, the harder it's going to be, the more you're going to get out of it. Excellent. Right, we've done that first one, we've done our bird dog, we're going to move into exercise number 2. That's our wood chop. Really great movement. Hands together, we're then going to rotate at the hips, taking the hands down, and then drive them up and over the shoulder. Lots of rotation through the hips here. If you do have access to a little bit of weight, feel free to use that as well, ladies. Really try and work through the hips, and again, keep it controlled, try and work through those obliques. So that's 2 exercises done. We've got one more, let's keep that pace up nice and high. For that final exercise, we're going to move into our side plank. Down to the floor. We can have our knees bent or our legs straight out in front of us. Elbows supporting our body weight. We can have a little bit of a cushion or a pillow underneath us if that will help us getting a little bit more comfortable. Hips up, and we're going to hold that position to finish off our 3rd exercise. Like I said, if we struggle with that, we can take it down to the knees, bending the legs, and drive those hips up as well. Okay? Main focus on that exercise is the height of the hips. Really try and push them up. You don't want them sagging down towards the ground. So, you've got 3 exercises there. Work through those back to back. After you've done the 3, short breather, and then back in, 3 rounds to do in total. Super bit of core work there to finish the session off, ladies. I'll catch you again for our 3rd and final program of the week. Brilliant. Hi ladies, welcome back, and we've got another big training session for you today. We're going to look at our posterior chain. We are going to focus on our hinge movement, okay? So, we've got the glutes, the hamstrings, the core, everything around that hip area. It's going to be so important through your pregnancy to help you support your baby, as well as sort of post-pregnancy and that postnatal period. Those big muscles, we need to maintain strength in that area. Warm up then, what we're going to do. We've got 3 exercises. Let's work through those now. I'll show you exactly how they're done. We're going to kick off a nice simple one, and that's our bridge. We're going to come down to the floor, hands into the floor, push those down as hard as you can, walk the heels up to the bum, and you're going to lift those hips up towards the ceiling as high as you can. Big squeeze in the glutes, dropping that back down to the floor. Work through those reps, and then we'll move ourselves back up onto our feet. Exercise number 2, really, really good one. Use this one a lot myself. We're going to come in for a little hamstring stretch. Coming onto a surface, either use a sofa or a chair, whatever you want to use. We're going to split our stance. Hands on the sofa, hands on the chair. One leg comes behind us, and I want you to focus on lifting the chest up a little bit here, okay? To maintain a nice neutral spine. I don't want you rounded in the back. From there, this front leg, we're just going to move through flexion and extension to try and get a little bit of blood pumping in and around that hamstring area. But you should feel that lower part of the hamstring, maybe a little bit into the calf muscle as well. Try to maintain that chest up all the way through that. We'll work on both legs, and then we'll move into our third and final exercise of the warm-up. Third and final one, it is the lateral lunge, okay? Nice good movement. It's in there to open out the hips a little bit. We're going to step across the body, into that little lunge, and then back to our midline. Either alternate the legs, or stick to the one leg like I am, and that'll get you through your reps, through your warm-up. 2 to 3 rounds, ladies. What I want you to do is pause the video here, get into your warm-up, and then press play again, and we'll be back into our training, back into those hip work, into that glute training. Excellent, see you soon. Okay, we're through the warm-up then, ladies. We're going to kick off then with now our strength training for our hinge work, okay? We're going to come down to the floor for our first exercise, and we're going to have a look at the seated tabletop. Right, down to the floor, I'm going to kick off in this position here, okay? My chest elevated. My hands are pointing behind me, so my fingers are pointing away from my body, and I'm keeping my heels firmly dug into the ground. From this position here, I'm going to start to elevate my hips in through that bridge and drive up and squeeze those glutes at the top of the rep. Big squeeze, you should feel that in the hamstrings as well as the glutes. Trying to line up as many of those joints as possible. So shoulders, hips, as well as knees should all come in line through that neutral spine position, okay? Back down and back up. As you'll see the tabletop, I want you to work through the reps, work through those sets at a nice comfortable pace. Focus on control. That is your big strength exercise to kick off this session. Excellent, right. Once we've done those sets and reps, we can then move into our additional hip work, and that's a favourite of mine, and that is the overhead hinge. There's a number of ways we can go about this. We can vary the stance to change the difficulty of the exercise. What I'll show you today is just a regular stance. Feel free to change that, to take it to a wider stance for a little bit more difficulty. Right, I'm going to take my feet in what we call like a deadlift stance. So they're directly underneath the hips. I'm going to place my hands up above my head. My shoulders are slightly externally rotated, so I should be able to see my hands through this exercise. My knees are soft. I'm then going to start to push my bum back, maintaining my hands directly above my head and drive back through the hips to the finish. It's a great exercise for building not only strength around the posterior chain, but also upper back strength as well. That's going to be so important when you're carrying your baby post-pregnancy. You're going to need strong shoulders, strong upper back to maintain good posture. So don't underrate this exercise. Work through those sets, work through those reps again, maintaining hands behind the head all the way, pushing those hips through, squeezing the bum at the top of the rep. Once you've done that, I'll join you again for our extra little bit of work of technique. Okay, so press pause there, get that work done, and I'll join you in a second. Okay, welcome back. Let's get into our second part of today's session. We've worked through that strength training on the hip hinge. We're now going to move into a little bit of accessory work. We're going to focus primarily on those supporting muscles down in the legs, so quads and glutes. We're going to kick off with our rear foot elevated split squat. For this, you're going to need a sofa or a chair, something you can rest that back foot on. That back foot should just relax, okay? You can either have it up on the toes or just relax it, as long as you're not driving any weight through that back foot. That's really important. From there, get into a comfortable position. If you need to rest your hands on maybe a wall or an additional chair for a little bit more support, obviously being on one leg, it's going to challenge your balance a little bit, so just be cautious of this one. Right, head and chest up, focus on dropping that back knee down towards the floor and driving up through the front heel. There should be no action through that back leg. It's essentially relaxed and focus on really promoting strength through that front quadricep. Excellent, right, that's your first exercise. I want you to complete repetitions on both legs. Once you've done that, we've got a really challenging movement next, so the legs are going to be loaded up. You're going to go straight into that next exercise. Superset with this one. We're going to drop into a squat hold. Nice and deep way to maintain that really good structure. From there, we're going to work the arms out to the front. And I'm looking for you to complete 100 jabs out to the front. Okay, that's going to elevate the heart rate. It's also going to force you to jab quickly, yeah? The quicker you hit those punches, the quicker you're out of that squat. Okay, let's see who can hit the quickest 100 jabs and get out of that squat and move into their next round. Okay, once you've done that squat hold with 100 punches, always have a little breather and then move back to the rear foot elevated split squat for set number 2. Okay, press pause there, ladies. Get your work done. Show me those squats, show me those punches, and I'll join you again for a little bit of pelvic floor and core training for the end of today's session. Fantastic. Excellent. Good work in that last section, ladies. Super work on those elevated split squats and as well with those squat punches. What we're going to look at now is a little bit of pelvic floor and a little bit of core training. Right, you should all really be doing Kegel exercises all the way through your pregnancy as well as a postnatal period as well. I'm just going to give you a quick intro on how to get those done. What I'm looking for today is 3 sets of 15 repetitions on the Kegel exercise. This is going to be really important for maintaining pelvic floor function as well as promoting strength in and around the abdomen area. It's going to prepare you for the birth of your child. Right, if you haven't done a Kegel exercise before, as silly as it sounds, the best way to find out how to execute that is to go to the toilet, and when you're urinating, just stop that mid-flow. That process of stopping yourself urinating is the process of engaging your Kegel exercises and engaging your abdomen muscles, okay? That process, I want you to take that little feeling into those Kegel exercises today, okay? If you've not done these before, I would suggest doing them lay down flat initially. Once you feel like you can actively engage the right muscle groups rather than the wrong ones, you may be thinking about taking that to a sitting position. You should be doing these daily, okay? Morning, afternoon, and evening, focusing on the sort of rep ranges we're doing today. 3 sets, 15 repetitions, with a pause at contraction of each rep, okay? If you were doing them lying down, what you do is take that position, and you're going to focus on contracting the muscles in and around that area without squeezing the bum, without squeezing the quads, and without squeezing the core, okay? I would maintain control of your breathing all the way through that so you're not holding breath at all, okay? So you're in a lay down position and you're going to try and focus on squeezing those muscles in and around that area. The same muscles, like I said, that we use for maybe stopping our urination when we go to the toilet. Right, I want you to do 3 sets, 15 repetitions, a nice pause on each repetition. Once you've done that, we'll then move into our next exercise, okay? So press the pause there, have a little go at those Kegel exercises. If it's something you struggle with, then write in the comments below and I'll try and give you a little bit more support, a little bit more help, okay? Excellent. Pause there, complete your reps, and I'll see you in a second for the final core exercise, ladies. Okay, final core exercise of the program today. Hopefully you found those Kegel exercises useful. Again, like I said before, if it's something you struggle with, write in the comments and I'll try and give you a little bit more support. It's really something you need to be doing on a daily basis through your program to help with your recovery period after pregnancy. Right, that final exercise today then, I want you to focus on a little bit of control. We're going to come down into our box position. Nice and simple, hands stacked directly underneath your shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and we're going to focus on bringing our tummy up as far as we can, stretching that spine to flexion, and then we're going to drop that belly button down, back down towards the floor, and try and lift our head up just a small amount to get that extension and flexion through the spine, okay? Big control through each movement. Excellent. Right, once you've completed those reps, once you've completed those sets, that is today's program done. I'll see you again over our next week's training program. We'll see how we get on then, and we'll try and make a little bit of progress on some of the work we've done already. Fantastic work, ladies. Catch you later.